Hello, this is the Canal Walker, and I'm venturing into voiceover for the first time. This walk from Isis Lock to Thrupp has been covered in another video, but by adding the voiceover, I hope to introduce a few more facts and observations than can be conveyed by subtitles. I've also included a walk on the wild side, along the Duke's Cut, which wasn't featured before. Here we are at Isis Lock that connects the canal to the Castle Mill stream and the Thames. The map shows the original wharves at Worcester Street and New Road, but these were sold in 1937 to Lord Nuffield for somewhere to build his new college, so now the canal terminates just before Hythe Bridge. Isis Lock is a pleasant stroll from the bridge along the Hythe Bridge arm. Here's a map to show where we're off to. Starting at Isis Lock, we go north towards Wolvercote, take a detour along the Duke's Cut, and then skirt Kidlington before reaching Thrupp. It's about 7 miles and you can either walk or catch the bus back to Oxford. By 1768, coal was a sought-after commodity in towns such as Oxford and Banbury, and the Warwickshire coalfield was the best place from which to source it. All that was required was a canal to be built from the Midlands, and James Brindley was the man with the plan. But it took until the 1st of January 1790, by which time Brindley had been dead for 18 years, for the first 200 tonnes to arrive in Oxford, accompanied by much excitement and the local militia band. Isis Lock dates from 1796. It was originally widened to cope with Thames barges, but was rebuilt as a narrow lock in 1844. We pass a 50-foot winding hole and then Jericho Wharf, which is being redeveloped under the gaze of St Barnabas Church, also known as the Jericho Basilica. Opened in 1869, it aimed to improve the bad reputation of the area and is the subject of a poem by John Betjeman and featured in Thomas Hardy's Jude the Obscure. The name Jericho might have a biblical derivation meaning remote place outside the city walls. It was a planned development for the working classes without modern sanitation. In the 1860s, waterlogged ground near the canal was drained and then built on, and unsurprisingly the area degenerated into a squalid slum. Plans to demolish much of the housing in the 1960s were however resisted, and Jericho is now a lively and desirable place in which to live. Until the 1960s, there was a ferry carrying people across the canal where college cruisers now operate. All their boats are out at the moment, but I had a very pleasant cruise up to Thrupp in one earlier in the year. The footbridge was built in 1972. Apartments now line the far side of the canal, where there used to be a rather unpleasant tallow works and the Eagle Iron and Brass Works. This later became Lucy's and survived until 2005, before being redeveloped into a gated community. The following stretch of canal is residential on both sides, with mature gardens on the far side that run down to the canal and seating areas that embrace the water. Bridge 240 is worth a mention for at least two reasons. Unlike the majority of canal bridges, it's named after an ancient Greek philosopher, on this occasion Aristotle. And secondly, the adjacent Hayfield Hut was the location of Oxford's first coal wharf and would have looked like this. Sandwiched between the canal and the railway are the Thrupp grounds. In the 1970s, the council wanted to build housing on what was little more than a dump, but the local community said that they wanted the woodland, grassland and wetland habitats restored, and they were. We pass under Frenchay Road Bridge, which was once covered with graffiti. This bridge and others now display specially commissioned murals featuring local scenes. These are wisely protected by anti-graffiti varnish. There's no lack of moorings as you leave suburbia. and a wide variety of boats provide plenty of interest. It's difficult to convey from still photos the entertainment provided by this lady, in inverted commas. The boat clearly had propulsion problems, and standing on the bow, she was continually sounding a horn, yelling at the helmsman, and steering with a barge pole. From the start of the walk, you will have seen how the canal has created a green corridor through Oxford. Agenda 21 long-term moorings are designed to be low impact and eco-friendly. This is an environmentally sensitive area that has to contend with the demands of boaters, joggers, cyclists, foragers and walkers. The landscape doesn't radically change as you go under Wolvercote Bridge and past its lock. The boats continue to display various states of repair and disrepair. This is Willow passing under one of the lift bridges that characterise the southern section of the canal. Luckily for boaters, there's only 21 left. There used to be over 90. Pirate Princess hails from Gilby's Wharf. If you want to find out more about where all the gin was once distilled, check out my Regent's Canal video, part 1. Leaving Oxford behind, you have to duck under the Western Bypass, better known as the A34. Then the Northern Bypass, or A40, before reaching the Duke's Cut at Wolvercote Junction. I thought Quo Vadis was going to turn into the cut, but the boater was only taking advantage of the last place to win before Oxford. So let's speed up the clip. You enter the Duke's Cut over this Grade 2 listed bridge, passing lock 44A, a stop lock that is regularly in need of repair and regulates the flow of water from the Thames. Next up is the Oxford to Birmingham Railway Bridge dating from 1852, and then under the A40 once more. Named after the 4th Duke of Marlborough, the cut is less than 500 yards long, but provided the Duke with what he thought was going to be a lucrative link to the Thames and also to his paper mill. It's certainly a towpath less travelled, and the cut is lined with boats that frankly have seen better days. The Canal and River Trust's interest in the cut after the stop lock seems somewhat limited. I think they leave it to the Environment Agency and vice versa. The Duke's Mill is signposted, but there's no towpath, as barges were propelled by manpower rather than horsepower from here to the mill. There's clearly plenty of outdoor entertaining that goes on, although this possibly doesn't include watching Strictly Come Dancing on a Saturday night. You eventually reach Oxford Nature Reserve, an ancient floodplain which is said to boast wildflowers, insects and birds, and offers a view of the mill stream disappearing off to the Thames. On the way back to Wolvercote Junction, on the same side as a flooded gravel pit, you can admire more boats that are more likely to sink than sail. Back at the junction there's the Duke's Lock Pond Nature Reserve. Once past Duke's Lock you'll reach Kidlington Green Lock, which is just as busy, with women washing and men no doubt tackling essential DIY tasks. A weir above the lock can make mooring difficult, as amply demonstrated by this hire boat, but as the helmsman coming out of the lock advises, they might be better off using the centre rope. Kidlington is a town of contrasts, where well-kept gardens are manicured, and you can take your ease in the sunshine. However, a little further on, the canal passes through a rather unattractive trading estate before reaching the Highwayman Hotel. Predating the canal, and with the coal wharf occupying what is now the car park, it might still be known as the Railway Hotel if Dr. Beeching hadn't closed the nearby Kidlington station. Opposite is a substantial building that is now split into cottages. You soon reach Gunpowder Moorings as you approach Thrupp. There's a choice of two pubs, the Jolly Boatman and the Boat Inn, which is Grade 2 listed and a favourite of Inspector Moore's. Canal workers' cottages line the water at Thrupp, where the former British Waterways Maintenance Yard now houses Annie's Tea Rooms. Nearby, with a mixture of excitement and curiosity, gongoozlers watch slow Loris navigating under the automated Albury's lift bridge. It's leaving Thrupp wide, which used to be a mill pond, until the navvies arrived and demolished most of the mill. It's now home to the Thrupp Canal Cruising Club and a very pleasant place to relax on one of the benches at the end of the walk. Check out my other walks along the Oxford Canal, Grand Union and Birmingham Canal navigations. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon on another towpath.